sort of the view you took to things. You really showed us how you can cover, any area for the world. You were so great at, finding, terrific angles on pot and rural farmers, and your work during the Portland mayhem. That was like sending you back to a foreign posting for a while when Portland was blowing up. So we're going to miss you. But like I said, we expect reports from the Grand Slam tournaments as you're touring around the world.
Thank you, Chris. It's been amazing to work with you and the Pacific Northwest team, and now the Pacific Northwest Alaska Hawaii team.
So I have to tell it Andrew Selsky's story. Andrew hired me many years ago. And in fact, it's really Zoe, his wife, who I can thank mostly. We had met, I was extremely young. We were all much younger. And I was covering a summit in Cartagena, Colombia, and most of it just required sitting around waiting. And so for a couple of hours, I was sitting around waiting and talking to Zoe, and we just got chatting. And she said, my husband's the AP bureau chief in Bogota. And I don't know, somehow I gave her my card and never thought I'd hear from anybody again. And about, I don't know, like 2 or 3 months later, I can't remember exactly, there was an opening and I get this call from Andrew Selsky, and can't remember what the interview process was back then, but it was probably pretty ad hoc. I just remember asking if I could get a little bit more money than he was offering, and he was like, no, you can't. And I was like, okay, I'll take the job. And I'm really glad I did. It was just fantastic working with you. And, as a young journalist, what I remember was that a little bit what Gilly was saying, you weren't the kind of aloof boss. I mean, you had incredible amount of energy. I mean, you wanted to be out there doing the reporting. And it was a wonderful, I think, it was a great example that you set. So, we've known each other for a long time over the years in lots of different guises, but I thank you for bringing me into the AP and for your mentorship in those early years. And I wish you just the best in your retirement. And also, please pass along my best wishes to Zoe. Thanks, Andy.
Paul, I will, and I'll look you up when we visit New York, which we're bound to do. And I'll say that Zoe is a great talent scout. And, when she saw you and spoke with you and then recommended you, I found this great young journalist that would be a great fit when you have an opening. So you were had 2 feet pretty much through the door at that point.
It was incredible serendipity,
It was, one of the best decisions I made hiring you. And I'm so glad that you're, steering the great ship now.
Thanks,
Don't get too excited, Andy.
Well, look, him to blame.
Well, I'll jump in right now because you also hired me, Andrew Selsky, 11 years ago, nearly 12 years ago, to come in and join the Africa team. And it was a great luck for me, both to join AP, but also to go in and to work with you and to learn so much from you about how to cover the continent, the whole continent with a few people, but how to make everybody work at their best to do that. And it was a great learning experience for me and for everybody else. And I do remember particularly our high point, I would say, was covering Mandela's death, and you and I and everybody worked together, and our bureau swelled, it like quadrupled in size. And you kind of managed that ship as if it was still just the little skeleton crew that we had. And I also just want to say how seamlessly you transitioned to Oregon. And as Chris pointed out, you brought all the energy and expertise and professionalism to Oregon. And also the SAFE program, which, you really helped put together. And I heard it just now praised as an industry leading program. So there's an awful lot there that you have accomplished. And then you take that excellence, the professional excellence, and you take that excellence to your family. And you have a beautiful family that you are an integral part of, and you're not just a journalist with a family off to the side. And so I admire all those things. And I want to thank you for that very, very much. And the best news I've heard is that you are going to be coming to New York. So I look forward to that.
I'd like to jump in. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to say, Andy, because otherwise I'll forget this train of thought. Thank you so much. Andy, when you came to Johannesburg, after trials and tribulations, getting your visa, I remember, and John Daniszewski may remember too. We got to get like Andy there, and you came in and you jumped in, and we had stories blowing up everywhere, with Al-Shabaab, mayhem, Somalia, Kenya, Nigeria going on. You came in, you got there in the seat and, rocked with it. So glad that we had that relationship, working and personal, Andy. Thank you.
As international editor, I always had to figure out about the two Andrews in Johannesburg. So I referred to Andy Selsky and Andrew Meldrum, or maybe I switched it around, but it was always but what I wanted to say mostly about you, Andrew, I can't believe you're taking early retirement. The strength, the integrity, the willingness to go the extra mile, the humility with which you led, I think, were a fine example for AP journalism. And I always really treasure and cherish the time that we've had working together, the decades, I guess. You just have always been this stand-up guy that, to me, epitomizes the very best of AP journalism and leadership. And I'm grateful to you for finding such great talent as Paul and Andy Meldrum. I think you were an astoundingly good recruiter. You also were able to handle delicate human issues within your bureaus when somebody needed some extra help, or someone needed to move, or someone needed something. You always were a strong advocate for them. And to me, it's really hard to imagine the AP without you. And I really also love the way that when you decided to go back to the U.S., how you just got into all the local and state news stories in the areas you're covering, and always enjoy seeing your pictures on Facebook or Instagram of your travels and adventures in the great outdoors in the Northwest. So anyway, and even in the last year serving on the beat of the week jury, you've really done extraordinary commitment and contributions to the whole work of the AP. So anyway, I think you can leave with the knowledge that you have the great respect and fondness and admiration of your colleagues and across the organization. I respect that you're taking a good moment for you and Zoe to leave and do something different, but we surely will miss you.
Oh, wow, John. Coming from you, those words mean a ton, more than a ton. Thank you so much. I first met you in Kuwait when you were still with the LA Times, and it was like Saddam was saber rattling, and I was based in Madrid, and AP sent me to Kuwait, that maybe something was going to happen, and U.S. military forces were coming in case Kuwait, Kuwait was going to be attacked again. And I introduced myself to you at the hotel lobby in the Kuwait Sheraton. We're about to go out in some junket. And you
Yeah, I
were
remember
already
that.
legendary. You were legendary then already. And so I'm so glad I got to be able to work with you and for you, John. Thank you for those amazing words. Really touches my heart. Thank you.
All right, I have something to say. So I think that Andrew and I probably in the AP are the only bureau chiefs to have, succeeded one another in a single location. And the bone that I have to pick with Andrew is that the first time he left Bogota, okay, the guerrillas kept getting stronger, and so he left me with a terrible situation of leftist rebels run amok, overrunning military bases right and left. And then I left, and we lost a whole bunch of money on our house. And I came back in 2005, and the paramilitaries were on the rise. So it's like Selsky, but no, in all seriousness, I think that one of the amazing things about succeeding Andrew in Bogota is that I knew, besides the amazing Amaya brothers, who Paul will attest to, are like some of the best support staff anyone could hope for anywhere in the world. The bureau was well run. Andrew, the second time, had moved to like the best AP bureau location, this little one-story house we had on 97th, near all the highways. So he had everyone covered, the print and the video and photo people, so they could get to where they needed to be pretty fast. I have to say, the gridlock in Bogota is just horrendous now. It's got worse every year. But so it was not only that Andrew was managing that place really well, but also that every time I arrived in Bogota, the AP was well positioned, well respected. We had excellent contacts everywhere. So I thank you for that. That's just sort of an incredible degree of professionalism. And then he comes back to the States and he starts covering drugs, alcohol, mafia is not so much, but organized crime was always, always a big seller. And the other thing that I will say for Andrew in our last couple of years working together is that I don't get a lot of domestic reporters who are eager to jump in and deal with technology. But Andrew was always happy to do that. Of course, he had Ron Wyden, so Ron is always big on these issues. So I'm definitely gonna miss having you around to jump in on that stuff.
Hey, Frank, thank you a ton. And actually, speaking about putting good teams together, when I replaced you after you replaced me, and I came back in 2000, we had a great team, some of whom were there when I was in my first iteration as Bogota COB. But you had also hired this amazing Chilean reporter, Juan Pablo Toro, that hadn't arrived yet, but you had hired him and he came in and it was the best team, and he ran the Spanish side of it. It was so great. And I'll just say this is, you blame me for leaving and there's some mayhem. But when I came back in 2000, the FARC rebels were really like threatening the country, and they had frequently cut the main highway between Bogota and Medellin, the two main cities, and they would blockade it, and then any trucks there they would burn up, and they would kidnap people, take them off to the mountains. And so AP pays to ship your household goods by ship. And so I shipped mine from South Africa, where I'd been a correspondent, to Bogota on the ship. Then I realized the situation and that my household goods would have to go on that road. And so I, messaged Frank like, man, I'm a little bit nervous about my household goods. And then you led on that AP had allowed you to airlift your household goods to the States.
Not only that, but I'll tell you another little story. not only did my entire household, probably one of the most expensive moves AP paid for, because they moved all my household goods by wooden crate. But also the police chief, who both of us knew very well, arranged to have a special crew of dogs go through all of my household goods, drug sniffing dogs. And it was great, because otherwise they would have ripped into, all of those crates. So I was very fortunate to have that contact. So
That's a great anecdote. Yes, Willie's going to jump in. I'm going to put him on speaker. Willie, yes, you got the floor.
I just retired a couple of months ago as the Vermont correspondent of the AP, and for technical reasons that are probably mine, I couldn't get into the Zoom. So Andrew is putting me on speakerphone, and I think I've heard enough nice things about Andrew. It's time to embarrass him a little bit. Andrew and I met each other in Tegucigalpa, Honduras in early 1985. I had just sort of gone there completely on my own to hang out my journalistic shingle, and Andrew arrived as the English-speaking local hire for the AP. I was with Andrew when he met the woman who is now his wife, Zoe, and we spent a lot of time together back in those days. And the thing I wanted to remind Andrew of is one time that the four of us, Andrew and Zoe and me and my then girlfriend, we decided we were going to go horseback riding. So we found some stable somewhere in Greater Tegucigalpa, and I'm in there and I'm chatting in Spanish with the woman who ran the stable, and about the details, and we couldn't work them out. But then Andrew pipes up in English, of course. Well, why don't you just give her some money? And of course, the woman spoke perfect English, and I think that kind of embarrassed Andrew about that. At least I hope it did. It would have me.
Willie, you dredged up one of the most embarrassing moments of my life.
But anyway, at the time, Andrew and I spent a lot of time running the roads of rural Honduras in the mid-1980s when it was the center of the world. And he was always completely committed to the AP. So I have watched his rise in the AP over these years with great pride, saying I knew him when. And I'm really pleased to see that he's getting the accolades he deserves after his stellar career at the AP.
Willie, thank you.
And there, I'll shut up. Okay.
And hey, Willie, and so Willie did retire, or Wilson, as he's more often known to newer acquaintances, but back in the day was Willie. Did retire like 2-3 months ago, and has been enormous help in helping me navigate something that you're all going to have to navigate, and that is transitioning from like AP insurance to other insurance, etc. So Willie, and I look forward to seeing you in Vermont sometime. Thanks for your kind words.
Yes, okay, thank you. I look to seeing you in Zoe too.
Hey, Andy, Peter here. I think
Hi.
if we're gonna go chronologically, as far as your career goes, I come next. Andy and I met, gosh, I can't remember the year, but it was also in Central America, I think right after your time in Honduras. And, all I can say is, a lot of people, retire, but, without much fanfare and all that. But, Andy is one guy who I think has really sort of earned his retirement, given the way his career started in Central America with all the time in the mud and the rain and all that, and traveling around the world and relocating constantly. That's just worth noting, and I think it's really admirable and equally impressive that you managed to sort of raise such a beautiful family at the same time. Andy and I have kept in touch over the years and talked about we each have 2 sons, and talked about them sort of endlessly and kept track of them. And of course, there's Zoe, who's one of the great people I've ever known. So, yeah, enjoy yourself, relax, chill, and I look forward to seeing you in a more relaxed posture in the future. Good luck.
Peter, thank you. Yeah, thank you. When I transferred from Kansas City to New York to be on what was then called the World Desk and Foreign Desk, Peter was already a friend for several years. And so I went exploring neighborhoods and stayed with him when I was looking for housing in Park Slope, Brooklyn, which now is way beyond my affordability, would be an AP salary. This was in 1990. And Peter and I were, and his girlfriend, now wife, Mary, were pretty much neighbors, just lived a few blocks from each other in the 4 plus years, like 4-ish years that I was in New York. Peter, look forward to seeing you in person, Mary and Zoe, et cetera, at the soonest opportunity. Thanks so much for joining the call.
Hi, Andrew. It's Anita.
Hi, Anita.
So I don't have a specific story to tell, but I just wanted to tell you how I remember you. My earliest memory of you was in Haiti during the U.S. military intervention in Port-au-Prince, and I just remember you. Haiti. Who covers Haiti with such joy and enthusiasm? I mean, it's just a really kind of a sad place, but Andrew was always extremely enthusiastic and had this great talent of getting on military aircraft. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. I don't know how you did it, but you're always like on a helicopter to Port Haitian or Cape Haitian and some other places like that. But you get so excited, and we're going on a helicopter and we're going on an airplane or whatever. But you had fun, I mean, that was the other thing that was really stood out for me, is how much you really enjoyed what you did. And we should, I mean, why are we doing this, right? It's certainly not for the money. So if it's not fun, what is it? So, but I appreciate you, and I wish you all the best. And as I said to you in a note earlier, I know everybody's telling you to relax. I want you to write a book, please. And I don't want you to stop writing. Keep writing, okay?
Anita, I will. Thank you for your friendship and being such a great colleague in different places around the world all these years. And indeed, I remember that Haiti coverage. It was super intense. And it was a great team, and it was great to work with you, such a, we were like friends as well as colleagues, and, great memories. Like that Haiti assignment was one of the most standout ones for me, and, many assignments around the world. Haiti, 1994.
Right.
So,
a lot of rum punch at the Olafson.
That's right.
Remember that band Ram?
Oh, yes.
Oh my God. That was so much fun.
We'll
Anyhow, best of everything to you. I'll let you know if we get up to Oregon, or if you get down to the
please
Southwest. It's starting to cool off finally, so.
Okay, we're gonna go down there. I hear Tucson's pretty good for like cycling and a good winter break area. So
it's very nice for bicycles, yeah.
Soldier, sailor, airman, marine, guardian for country.
I think that was the radio or something.
Yeah, hi Andrew, it's Eduardo in Mexico.
Hola, Eduardo. Hello.
¿Cómo estás? So,
muy bien, ¿qué tal?
Todo bien, todo bien. Let me say a few words. So I met Andrew in 2009 in person in Mexico, because he was sent here to cover the swine flu outbreak, the H1N1. And I've known his name for a while, but we hadn't worked together until then. And it was really nice, because I knew that he had been a boss for a while, and everyone had a really good words for him, and I understood why, because back then I was working for the Spanish language service, and when he was in Latin America, I was told for many times, and again, I saw it when he was here, that he had really good respect for local journalists. And because in the end, we all know that local journalists are key for our reporting for the foreign press organization at the AP. And so he was really good in understanding that. So we worked really, really, really good. I mean, we never worked as much as I would have liked, but we kept in touch. So Andrew, it's been a pleasure knowing you, and I wish you the best.
Eduardo, thank you so much. I do, correct me if my memory is wrong, but I recall us working together in the Dominican Republic for a summit of heads of state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was so impressed. I mean, we had heads of state, and including from countries that are at loggerhead, that were at loggerheads. And it was the two of us, covering this in the Dominican Republic. And I was so amazed and impressed at how you handled it all and so well. So, you had my immediate respect. Eduardo, thanks for calling in. Hope to see you sometime. It's been a real pleasure, working with you.
Andrew, it's Jim.
Jim.
It's wonderful to see so many people, Anita, Eduardo, Paul, it's a community that you have, that surrounds you, that loves you, that embraces you, man. We don't want you to go, and follow Anita's advice. Please write. Please write. It may have been the swine flu that we last worked abroad together with Eduardo and everybody else. And I know there's probably a lot of hidden Caribbean stories as well from your time in San Juan. I do remember Ram. I do remember at the Olafson. I'm not sure our paths directly crossed there, but they would later on in Colombia and Venezuela. It was an honor to help you on occasion in Colombia. You had so much going on. And of course, you saved my butt several times in Caracas. Very hard times. It's been a joy to work with you long distance here in the States again. So I'm going to keep this short. There's just too many memories and too many good times and what have you. But absolute pro, always done with elan. And everybody on this call it's just testament to the human being you are. Thank you so much.
Jim, thank you. We call each other our Bolivarian brothers because Simon Bolivar, the great liberator of South America, envisioned Colombia, Venezuela, etc., being one country. Jim came to Bogota on a moment's notice when we had a huge store going on, global story in Colombia. And it was a difficult one, long hours, some people sometimes in danger. And then I came out to Venezuela to help, but there was a bit of a coup against Hugo Chavez there that turned out to be a roller coaster ride. And we've been in touch in the years since. So Jim, your words mean a lot. Thank you so much. Look forward to staying in touch with you.
No.
Krista, did you want to go? You have your hand.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, it's been a number of years, obviously, since we've worked together, Andrew, but I just wanted to, again, extend our gratitude here in Africa for all of your contributions and the influence that your leadership still has on the continent in terms of the people who you hired, the people who you mentored, and the ways that we built up our Stringer network during that time. It's the very beginning of my reporting career, and I look to your field experience and your many years managing big stories to guide me through some, very precarious situations, including the time that our staff got stuck at the Hotel Novotel in Abidjan during the war in Ivory Coast, and watching, the steps that were taken and everything that we did to resolve that situation. So sorry for all the times I called you late at night or on weekends to tell you my car had broken down on the side of the road, or that, some dictator had been shot in the head, but but really, you're just such a wealth of knowledge, and I wish you all the best. And you were especially, I thought it was great too, as a manager, you were always there whenever we would have braais or barbecues or staff dinners, and your enthusiasm for the staff and for spending time with all of us just was really contagious. So thanks so much, and all the best to you and your family. Please give all my best to you.
Krista, thank you. I remember first meeting you, and you really kind of planted the flag for the first ever Africa desk when it broke off from the Europe Africa desk in Johannesburg. And boy, you were so organized, got things organized. I came in after you, and already the way was being paved by you. And you had so many great ideas. You were so enthusiastic, so committed. A lot of the stories that we covered were in difficult situations and handling stringers that, would just turn in some notes or disappear when we, had a hot story and we needed to get coverage. And it was so wonderful being a teammate with you, Krista. Thanks for calling in, and your words mean a lot.
Okay, well, we miss you and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Carley? Hi. Yeah, I was going to follow that up. This is Carley.
Hi, Carley.
Can you all hear? Hi. I was able to call in, but I'm not in a position to put my video on. Yes, the braais, the barbecues, the World Cup. Johannesburg was a great experience thanks to your leadership. And as Krista says, we were in there. I remember going to the Africa desk long ago and wondering who actually our boss would be. I think we were there before you, and you came and you really filled the role and motivated us and inspired us. And your field experience was amazingly unique for where we were positioned. And I always really valued your mentorship on working both in the field and on the desk, and how you allowed us to juggle that, and we watched you juggle that as well. And I also admired the way that you really supported a lot of the local staff and wanted us to get out there and work with them more. And I've taken that through in all my work, and also your approach to more creative writing for AP style. I always liked that too. So thank you. You also showed us the importance of balance, I think, trying to put your family, first in work environments that are tough. And so I am grateful for that, and have also carried that through. So I didn't get to work with you as much in the US, but I am grateful for your guidance and everything we got to do together in sub-Saharan Africa.
Thank you, Carley. I'm so grateful too that I got to work with you, and I'll keep an eye on your career as it continues. It's been always a real pleasure to work with you. Super solid journalist, and such a joy to work with as well.
Hey, Andrew.
Gene.
Congrats on the retirement. It's been a real privilege getting to know you toward the end of your career. Sounds like you had some pretty hairy moments back there, and while you were overseas, and no wonder you started to chill out writing about weed and wine and mushrooms. Your coverage has really had a big influence on me. I just have learned a lot from your reporting, and it's really been a great really been great working with you, and you're a total pro. Really appreciate it.
I love the glass of wine, Gene. Very good.
But you're not going to take the shrooms, Gene? You just got to
Oh,
drink
the shrooms.
wine?
Yes, forgot about the shrooms.
Those aren't real shrooms, are they?
They're real shrooms, but they're morels.
Morale.
This is the best I could do on short notice. I did look in my 16-year-old's room to see if I could find a real joint, but couldn't come up with anything.
Thanks for the kind words, Gene. It's been great, working with you and having, collaborating on so many stories, and then plus your solid first edits with great ideas, including the mushroom story. That big psilocybin takeout, which is still in AP like Spotlight or something on the app. Probably because of your great edit and ideas on it. And so anyway, you rock, and looking forward to continuing to see the coverage from the Pacific Northwest, Alaska, Hawaii.
Hey, Andrew.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, I just wanted to say, my knowledge of your background, I know a little bit about your overseas experience, but nothing like what I've learned on this call, and it's incredibly impressive and inspiring, and it makes your transition back to the States and your work in Oregon all the more impressive, because we worked together sparingly, and I saw you from afar. It was your enthusiasm, your pitching stories, and just being the consummate pro to jump onto anything that was, that stood out. And, coming from the background you did, to be able to transition to that, it's just really impressive. And to be able to hear this too is such a gift to me and to others on the call, because it's inspirational. And the best thing of all is you get to hear it, because normally this comes up at a funeral. So that's a good thing, right? So
exactly.
Anyway, I wish you all the best. It sounds like you got a lot of traveling to do and a lot of friends to see. So enjoy it.
Thank you, Frank. I intend to, and I appreciate your leadership. And it's always been a pleasure and fruitful, to have an exchange with you about a story idea or something that you put me on, et cetera, over these last 7 years. So thank you.
Karen, you want to go ahead?
Oh, can I jump in? Great. Andrew, I think I've said this to you almost every day since you announced you were leaving, but wow, I am just really going to miss you. We went through a lot when we were forming the Safe Online Harassment Program, including losing our dear friend, Fernando, and you always said the right things in all the right ways and at all the right times. And your friendship has just meant so much to me, and I want to thank you for it. You are a class act, and I hope to keep in touch with you. And like I said in my goodbye note, I'll be looking for pictures of you and Zoe having adventures in Oregon and in faraway places in the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Karen. It's been, such an important task that the SAFE team was given. And I was so wowed. I was a volunteer for it. And then I was on vacation and staying at my brother's place in Sacramento, California, when we did like a group call. And then you all asked me to stay on the call, and you asked me, could I be a co-chair? And I was like, wow, yeah, definitely. I was floored by that. And it was so rewarding, to get to know you and work with you on this. All those steps that went through, and I think it's on a good track now. It's on a good track. I think we built something good. So we'll stay in touch, Karen. It's been great being your colleague and friend.
Andrew, I just want to say it was an honor to work with you in your last chapter at this very legendary AP career, and your energy was infectious anytime we worked together. And I just want to wish you the best of luck and congratulations. And when you come up to Seattle, let me know.
I will, Manuel. Thank you so much. I look forward to doing a bike ride in West Seattle along the coast there, the coastline that you told me about. And
Very
it was
pretty.
so, like we worked together. The first, maybe it was the only joint project where we were, in tandem in person, and that was about the data center's massive use of water. We got together in the Dalles for a strong, it was actually a global project with text, photos, and video, but plus working with you long distance, collaborating on so many stories. A real pleasure, Manuel. Thank you.
Andrew, I remember when Chris Grygiel first said, "Hey, we've got a new correspondent coming in Salem, and he's a great guy, and everybody's gonna like him a lot." And then he said who you were and where you were coming from and everything you had done, and I was just floored. And I've just always appreciated. I've learned a lot from you. But you've always been so humble about all of your experience and your sort of storied career. And I can't guarantee this, but I am like 95% sure that in one of my college journalism classes, we studied a lot of your Iran-Contra coverage, actually, for a segment that we, for like thing we did on international reporting. So all that to say, I haven't worked with you very long compared to a lot of people, but I think I've been learning from you for a really long time. And I feel lucky to have gotten to work with you. And remember that Boise is a good stopping point as you are traveling around. So please come by.
Becky, I will remember. I'll keep your phone number. We'll link up this next time we come through Boise and have a beer and a meal. And that could be about the Iran-Contra, which certainly dates me. Because I covered when the U.S. supply plane that was illegally dropping weapons to the Contras was shot down over Nicaragua, and Eugene Hassenfuss parachuted out, was the only survivor, and spilled the beans, and that unraveled the whole Iran-Contra scandal fiasco. So it was interesting times then. Thanks, Becky. I appreciate your kind words. Look forward to seeing you.
Carley, did you want to say something else, or is that from before your raised hand? Guess not. Okay.
I'll just hop on really quick. I know I saw you, Andrew, yesterday at your farewell lunch, but I just wanted to say that even though I've only been at AP for a very short period of time compared to a lot of people on this call, that even in the year and a half or so roughly that we've worked together, I'm grateful that I had someone like you to set such a great reporting example. And like so many other people have said, jumping on any story, no matter how big or small, and the energy that you did it with. And I really admire your writing as well. I'm just grateful that I met you in this short span where our paths crossed, and I wish you all the best in your retirement.
Thank you, Claire. So great having you on the team. Hope you must stay on the team. I was not surprised when you went to Lahaina and rocked the coverage, with our other formats, and you did cross format. Anyway, I don't know how much I would have to teach you because you have such talent. But anyway, thanks. We'll stay in touch, I hope.
Andrew, this is Yvonne on the editing desk. Just congratulations. I'm gonna miss getting to edit your story so much. I met you like 7 years ago as a crotchety shared news desker, and we did not work together very much at all. But when I got to come back and be an editor and we got to work together, it was always just such a pleasure to work on your copy. Whenever I had a question, I always know that not only are you going to have a really robust answer for me, but it's probably in the story. And you're always willing to say, okay, but let's make that clearer. Let's, give readers more like on that, if you know what I mean, to make it better and beef it up. And I always appreciated that was your response. You always wanted to make your copy better. And I mean, every reporter does, but working with you on it was always a pleasure. So thank you and best of luck.
Thank you, Yvonne. Which, it's very true that behind every good story is a good editor. That will catch mistakes, will say, hey, let's bring this fact that's way down there higher up, let's make a better nut graph. Whenever I saw Yvonne that you were going to be handling one of my stories, I was like, yes, that's good. So thanks for your kind words, and carry on. The AP copy is safe in your hands. I know that.
I take that as super high praise. And I want to share this Selsky quote that needs no context. The water is really important. Just remember that in all reporting.
Okay, you got me scratching my head on that one, but it's, sounds good. Sounds like a
We were
mushroom.
talking about this story about the illegal marijuana grows, and we had a kind of mention about water, and I was like, well, it's a long story, and like we only have this small piece here on water, like do we really need to? And you were like, the water is really important. And this is a great example of you taking, you know, something that I was raising and then saying, but let's make it important then, instead of just having this one mention, let's beef it up a little bit more. And what we ended up with, I think we were both really happy with how that looked and how that point came across. And so yeah, I mean, you know, it was a great point, and I'm glad that we got to work through it together.
Thanks, Yvonne.
Hey, Andy, one more thing, just really quickly. We never crossed paths very much, but it's been years since we sort of worked side by side when we were part of John's crew. And it's always been a pleasure. I've always enjoyed our interactions. And like Frank was saying, it's been really impressive watching you sort of move back to the US and really, really, really get into it. It's been fun. We love working with you always. And I do hope to see you in New York. And it's been a pleasure. And I count myself lucky.
Maria, you can count on it when we come to New York. It's been so great, you know, being your colleague and your friend. We have a lot of shared history together.
Yes, we do.
So, you know, I'll just say that, and I guess it was Frank that said, it's like, you know, attending your funeral, but you're alive to hear, you know, the nice things said about you. So, and I was thinking that, you know, this kind of seems like, and it's totally surreal. You know, today's been totally surreal, like my last day at AP after 39 years. So it's just like, you know, and this Zoom call has been so fantastic, but it occurred to me that it kind of also seems like running an ultra marathon. And then your friends, your old friends, your new friends are there at the finish line, you know, cheering you on as you cross the finish line. So, you know, this call has been very meaningful. Gilly, thank you so much for organizing this. You know, I could go on like Gilly in lunch yesterday said, so do you have prepared remarks? So this morning, I jotted down some like crib notes here, but I don't think I need to go through them. And it's like a busy day. Y'all are busy. I convey the main thing, and that is that I really appreciate this. I really appreciate having worked with all of you. Love you all. Thank you.
Well, Andrew, the pleasure has been all of ours. Obviously, I also, like Frank, had no idea. I mean, I had some idea, but no idea of the depth of your and breadth of your career and all the incredible stories. So I'm glad that we were able to be on this call and hear that. I wish we'd had that deeper understanding earlier when in the Pacific Northwest, but you, like Becky said, you've been very humble. And I just, for those of you who are left on the call, just want to let you know, everybody was very generous with their contributions towards his retirement gift. So I've gotten Andrew a very generous gift certificate to his favorite winery in the Willamette Valley. And we've gotten him another very generous gift card to one of the fanciest restaurants in Portland. And contributions are still coming in, actually, as the call has been underway. So I'm going to have to think of a third thing. Maybe some pot or something. I don't know. But
GoFundMe.
Yeah, right. We can finance his travels to visit all his friends. But anyway, just thank you so much, Andrew, and we'll all miss you incredibly. And I definitely hope that you will stay in touch. And for those of you who don't know, Andrew has a lovely second home in Central Oregon that he puts up on Airbnb at a reduced rate for his friends.
Oh.
So you might want to check that out. I stayed there once with my family.
Share the link.
I do want to add one thing. You know, we talked about Zoe. Here's a drawing that someone did of Zoe. She couldn't be here because she's teaching at a high school today. But, you know, I have to thank Zoe, you know, and a lot of you know Zoe, have met Zoe. Krista knows Zoe, John knows Zoe. You know, she's been so key. And I met her. I was figuring back how many years. It's been like 38 years. And we did 10 moves together, 10 moves from Honduras to Nicaragua to Kansas City, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Been there, you know, supporting me through thick and thin. And we raised 2 sons, Sam and Blaine, who have turned out to be fine young men. So I thank them. And so just want to add that.
Oh, and Andrew, I'm recording the Zoom too, so I'll get you the link and you can keep that too if you'd like. And I'll send you the kudo board before your email's deactivated.
Thank you. Thank you for this amazing send off, and you know, keep the AP flag flying high. I know you will.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining. Really congrats, Andrew, and good luck. Yeah. All right. I think we're about to expire here anyway because I booked an hour. So bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Congrats, Andrew.
Thank you.
Congratulations.